Welcome to Good for Bitcoin, a weekly show recorded live every Friday where we recap the top events of the week and talk about everything that is good for Bitcoin. If it's built on Bitcoin, then it's good for Bitcoin. Let's get started.
Content shared on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, or company. We encourage you to conduct your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Good for Bitcoin, a weekly show we do every Friday where we recap events of the week and talk about everything that is good for Bitcoin. If it's built on Bitcoin, then it's good for Bitcoin. And we got a lot to talk about this week. My name is Brandon, social media manager here at Trust Machines. We also have Longstreet, who is on the leather handle right now. Longstreet, happy Friday, sir.
Happy Friday, Brandon. Good to hear your voice again. It was indeed another good week for Bitcoin.
Yeah, and you are... well, actually, you posted it. So, yeah, I'm not revealing anything. You are in California right now.
Yeah. Yesterday, my family and I, we left the French countryside, took a train to Paris, and then flew out and arrived in California last night around 8 p.m. So we've been, fighting the jet lag, but it's pretty nice to be back in my old, in my old stomping grounds in Venice Beach. So, yeah, I brought my whole mobile setup with the mic and everything. So hopefully the sound is just about as it was before.
I would say so. Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear. You sound great as you always do. Yeah, it's kind of funny that you are here in California, and then next week I'm actually flying out to Europe. So it's it's funny how that works.
Yeah, this is happening with like a lot of other people that I know in California. It's like we're totally flip-flopping, very coincidentally.
Yeah, well, I'm sure the weather is pretty good down there because it has been very hot up here. Actually, we have a portable air conditioner, and I had to break that out the other day because it was so hot.
Now summer's around the corner. Yeah, it's beautiful right now. It's overcast, so I'm not complaining.
Oh yeah, I would welcome that actually because it's been a little too hot here lately.
For sure.
Well, we do have some good news to talk about this week, but it happened maybe just an hour or two after last week's show. For the past month, it seems like we've been talking about this SAB 121 bill, and unfortunately, as we basically suspected, even though it had bipartisan support, passed in the House, passed in the Senate, it went to Biden's desk, and he vetoed it. So
I like Bido. Yeah,
Bido.
It was basically as expected. He said that he was going to veto it. So, but I think Bitcoiners, or maybe in the crypto space, we all have this ability to focus on the what if. So, what is it? Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So, Yeah, we saw it coming.
Yeah, I think obviously it sucks. It sucks, to have our leaders that are in House, in Congress, in the Senate, all in government, right, that are representatives of the people, and to have the representatives of the people vote in favor of getting rid of this stupid rule, only for just one person, essentially to turn around and veto it. It's pretty unfortunate just from a democratic standpoint. But forgive my dog barking in the background.
He expresses her.
She is also a little upset about this.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, right? It's clear that there is still progress being made. The fact that this is going to essentially be a major, just crypto in general is going to be sort of a major electoral issue this year is just another testament to how far we've come as an industry.
Yes. And it's also a testament to how the Biden administration is really either aloof, like they really don't get how important this is for many voters, or, they're just willing to set aside the risk of losing seats and losing elections.
Yeah, we will see. We talked, obviously it's a little, it's not quite so black and white that people are single voter issues on these types of things, but it just really makes the decision that much harder, for who you're going to vote for. If you were traditionally someone who would vote Democrat, right? But you don't want to vote against your industry. So it's going to be hard, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are getting. I was thinking about this as political dysmorphia, where they're so conflicted. Like I bet a lot of people for their entire lives have probably been, voting Democratic or Democrat, because there's a difference between like saying Democratic versus Democrat, right? People who have probably been voting Democrat their whole lives, and now they have moved in to the crypto space, and they see that the party that they've been voting for their entire lives probably very clearly are not supporting their best interests and even their livelihoods for people that work in this industry. So it's really disruptive for a lot of people. I think a lot of people are struggling with the decision that they're going to have to make.
Yeah, I mean,
I
for
want,
me personally. Oh, Shaylee, go ahead.
I was
Also,
thinking,
hi.
yeah, hi everyone. As happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Thanks for having me on. I just want to say that I think it's more complicated than what we're seeing with the veto. I mean, just the week prior or 2 weeks prior to the veto was the passing of that Fit 21 bill with bipartisan support. And it was the first time that we saw, like, in our view, I think from the crypto industry perspective, this overwhelming sort of bipartisan support for crypto. So despite the veto, there's a lot of like underlying things that are happening on the lobby side of crypto that are being pushed, right? So I think it's like, we have to get the market structure legislation right. And that's going to take time and a lot of different people to work through it, because once things get into legislation, it's not easy to roll them back, right? So this is why it takes so much time to make policy in DC. But recent polling numbers show that 1 in 5 voters is in battleground states consider crypto a major issue in the upcoming election, and 40% wished political candidates talked more about digital currency. And perhaps more importantly, 48% don't trust candidates that interfere with crypto. So those are striking numbers. The polling was DCG and the Harris poll that I'm reading information from. So I don't know too many details about like where they get their funding and things like that. But there is a crypto PAC that raised like over $180 million I saw recently. I think it was Stand with Crypto, which Coinbase it took the lead on. Sorry, Stand with Crypto, yeah. And the funding from that PAC is going to both parties. So representatives in both parties that will advocate for the crypto industry in their jurisdictions. So I think it seems black and white in the headlines, but I think there are a lot of like different things playing out in state by state that could result in something different over the next few weeks. Like we may hear some different rhetoric from leadership over the next few weeks.
Yeah, those are all really great stats. Just how many people actually care about these issues, and it is definitely a good reminder that there are crypto supporters on both sides of the table that support crypto and want crypto to stay in the U.S. and want more clarity and want crypto to succeed and not have more money going overseas, basically to these other countries where there is more clarity. But
Yeah, there's also, going overseas. I forget the name, but there was, what was that, a marketplace that just was like basically rugged, it was hacked and lost millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. But one of the collateral damage to pushing things offshore, not in the States, is that it's not done right, and then it's putting more people at risk.
Yeah, I mean, FTX would be one of the big examples of that, right? I mean, they did have like a little US kind of subsidiary, but their operations were not in the US, and they obviously caused a lot of damage because people were wanting to, they wanted to move to these riskier channels, but they were riskier because they weren't in the US, so they weren't operating by the rules. And um, yeah, so more clarity is definitely something that we need, so people are more protected.
Well said.
Going on to slightly more, well, not slightly more, better news, better Bitcoin news. That was last week. So this week, we did have a pretty big announcement from StarkWare, who has basically done zero knowledge. We've done some some explainers before on zk starks and zk snarks, and there's all these different different algorithms for zero knowledge proofs, but they are basically taking their technology and coming to Bitcoin. So previously they were just on Ethereum. Now they're coming to Bitcoin, and they're also intending to leverage Opcat to achieve this, which is currently in Signet right now. It's not on mainnet, so it's still something that is being sort of explored. But really cool that they're coming to Bitcoin, and they also announced a $1 million raise to support that effort.
Nice. That's big. A lot of these terms, like, I actually haven't taken a ton of time to go deep on the explanation and to really understand this. So would you mind? I don't know how much time, because there's actually a lot of time to talk about. So, like you said, there are explainers out there. So, but could you just explain like what the implications are of this? So how will the functionality of Bitcoin change with this? What does that mean for users?
It all kind of factors into rollups as a sort of scaling solution. Different methods of doing rollups. You're putting me a little bit on the spot here, so I'm gonna,
Well, I mean, so I jumped over to ChatGPT to like try to understand this better, and I mean, maybe I'm sure there's someone out here listening going, "What are they talking about?" So, if you want, I can try to like read through this real quick. It'll probably take like 30 seconds.
Go ahead. Well, I'm curious to see how much of an expert ChatGPT
All right.
is on this.
Good. Longstreet learning on the spot, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully you'll learn with me. So the zero knowledge aspect means that no additional information is revealed to the verifier except for the validity of the statement being proved. So this is crucial for privacy preservation. With scalability, unlike some other zero knowledge proof systems, ZK Starks are designed to be they're designed to be scalable in terms of computation and verification time. They don't require a trusted setup, so no need for like an initial ceremony where secret information must be destroyed afterwards. And there's a transparency element to this as well, because ZK Starks provide a trustless verification system. So since they do not require a trusted setup, they eliminate certainty. They eliminate certain security risks related to the mishandling or leakage of initial secret parameters, a vulnerability in other systems like ZK Snarks. Did that provide any more clarity, or did that make it just more confusing?
I think it started to go off the rails a little bit towards the end. I think in terms of its technical, it was kind of like it was describing ZK Starks as being ZK Starks. Like it almost felt a little cyclical there towards the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, well, essentially, what zero knowledge is it's a way of basically proving that a transaction was successful or a transaction went through without basically providing any details about the transaction. It's sort of a cryptographic way of proving the validity of something without, revealing who was involved in the transaction or how much was exchanged or et cetera. So it's a way of basically packaging that up in a provable form, so that you can have finality and while preserving privacy, essentially.
Well, that seems to solve a really big problem for Bitcoin because, why, if you want to pay me $20 for the pizza that we had last night, like, you should be able to do that with me looking up your address and seeing like how much Bitcoin you have. So with that, I'm wondering if this would give that some privacy.
Yeah, that's a great example, right? Yeah, if I send you Bitcoin, you can see my wallet address and you can look in there and you can see all the transactions that I've ever made on that wallet and you can see how much Bitcoin I have and everything, right? That's assuming that I'm using the same address for everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not ideal, right?
Privacy.
We want more privacy. So yeah, that's good progress.
Nice. Well, let me ask you about some of the trust machines and product news this week because it's been eventful on that side too.
Yeah, I've been, here at home, but we've had a lot of folks that have been kind of on the conference circuit. Shaylee, I'd actually love to hear, maybe pass it to you because you were actually at Consensus. So I'd love to hear how that went. And, a lot of our team was there. So looked like fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. There were fewer people there this year than last year, which is interesting. There seemed to be more Bitcoin representation. Munib was on he was on one panel, and then I think he had like a speech by himself at some point. And we had a side event for leather, which was great. And then the Stacks community, the Botanics, the Babylon community, the who else? The Ordinals community. Everyone was out, and like, it was just good representation for the Bitcoin community. I think overall, Babylon's fundraise announcement happened on the last day, so that was exciting. Or of the event. So yeah, all around, I think the the RSK team was there as well, Rootstock. And it was nice to just commingle with all the different Bitcoiners and hear about their scaling. And just one comment I will make is that it seems like there's a conversation happening in the Ethereum community, but just overall in the crypto space, about liquidity on protocols, startups getting funding, how VCs are continuing to fund these like app chains or layer ones that just to get the token and be able to exit more quickly than if, they were to invest in like a consumer application on an existing layer one or that has already proven scale. So yeah, there's a little bit of this like token frenzy and like going on. There's also like the meme coin stuff happening, and it just seems like everyone wants to pump and dump, and then there are a lot of folks who are saying, no, we need better consumer applications on top of the rails that we already have to scale and bring in new users, right? So there's definitely new infrastructure, which is wonderful because we still need to scale Bitcoin. I'm happy about StarkWare. I think, by the way, just to point out to Sean's comment on the privacy, I feel like for this, so ZK technology can be used both for privacy, but also for scalability. And I think StarkWare's application of the technology is more for scalability than privacy, if I'm not mistaken. But
thanks.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be like their aim is to do 1,000 transactions per second for Bitcoin, which would be great. So yeah, let's see what happens. Overall, good vibes, good tacos. Great to see lots of different like Bitcoiners and hear about what they're working on. And I think everyone's bullish. And we even got a lot of interest from developers in the Solana ecosystem, the Aptos ecosystem, Ethereum, coming to see some of the panels that Munib was on. So that was nice.
Yeah, I love that. It seems like every conference, every crypto conference is becoming a Bitcoin conference now. It's like slowly, all these builders are, that were traditionally on these other chains are coming to Bitcoin. And just in general, I really love how at these conferences, all these different layers, Bitcoin layers, kind of come together as one sort of, we're all building on Bitcoin, right? And you don't have a lot of I don't know, infighting, or people are generally very supportive of each other. We're all kind of working on the same chain and working towards the same goals of, strengthening Bitcoin, making it more scalable, adding on additional, things to do on chain. So, yeah, for anybody that has not been to any crypto conference, I would highly recommend it. Because it's a really great experience, and you don't need to spend a lot of money to go to them either, because usually the side events are better than the main events anyway. So that would be my recommendation. But yeah, you said something, Shaylee, that actually reminded me of, I don't know, for anybody that saw the clip that was floating around of when Casey Rodamore was up, and he was on stage and he was like, 99% of the companies that are in here are scams. and or shit coins or whatever he said, and he got like people applauded, and yeah, it's pretty funny.
I will say, I think the highlight of the week or the Austin event was Eric Voorhees. Is that his name? Yeah. His speech at the Coin Center dinner, which is now like online if folks want to catch it. I thought it was very inspirational. It was good.
Yeah, that's actually a good reminder. Sorry for cutting you off.
Oh, I was going to say, especially if you live in the US and seeing what's, happening in the current sort of like battle for crypto to continue to exist and how it will exist, and just the history of our country, it's pretty epic, the speech.
Yeah, that's a good reminder, because I need to go back and listen to it. I remember last year he had a speech at Permissionless, I believe, and it was so good that it like went viral. It was like being passed around everywhere, and everyone was just loving his talk. So yeah, I mean, Eric Voorhees is a total OG in the space, been building on Bitcoin for a very long time. So he's always just very insightful with what he says. We don't typically talk about price too much on this show, but I did want to mention, just because the VanEck CEO mentioned it. Basically, he didn't directly say this price, by the way, but he basically predicted that Bitcoin's market cap was going to eventually reach at least half the market cap of gold. And people did the math and figured out that if that were to happen, the price of a Bitcoin would be $400,000. So that's interesting.
Was he connecting that to any timeline?
I don't believe so. It wasn't like, oh, this year or something like that. But I think, directionally, it's hard to argue with him, right? I mean, I think like Bitcoin is only going to continue to grow over time, just, not even price, but just in usage. And, we've seen over the past, year and a half, everyone is flocking to Bitcoin to build on it and to, bring more use cases and everything like that. So, yeah.
You see Chamath Palihapitiya's price discussion?
I didn't actually. Did that also happen this week?
Yeah, I think it was probably a week ago on last week's All In podcast. But yeah, he was saying that if you look at the following 18 months after a halving, that's when the most growth happens, and we're really in the midst of that right now. And it's anywhere between 14%, 100%. I mean, it's been all over the place. The first one was massive. They're going down every time, but he averaged the last two. I forget what the exact numbers were, but if you average the last two, you get something like in 18 months it could be at 500,000. Which, I mean, it seems bonkers, but I mean, these things are all possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just pay attention more, I guess, to the direction that these, people are predicting, right? People are predicting it to just continue to go up in price, whether it goes to $500,000 or not. I mean, we'll see, but
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's just, a sign of where we are kind of in this market cycle. And sounds like things are hopefully going to continue to go up.
Yeah. And I also think that we need to take all those things with a grain of salt. And people who have been around for at least one cycle are probably used to this concept of during the bull market, when you look back and it was the top, there's always people saying it's going to keep going higher and higher and higher. So you just need to like temper that, take a step back and say, what is my strategy? Like lay it out ahead of time. If you have partners, you got to talk about it and not just count on these predictions happening. But like you said, directionally, yeah, it's when you do the education, you do the homework, you can come to your own conclusions about the direction. But when it comes to like, everyone has their own decision making to do around like percentage of an allocation. Like at the very least, a 1% to 2% allocation seems very, very modest. And for a lot of people who are, mega bullish, like everything is in Bitcoin, like the Peter McCormacks of the world, right? But for anyone who hasn't been around for more than like one cycle, in my personal life, if they're asking me for financial advice, and this is not financial advice, but if they're asking me, it's always, I don't recommend you buy Bitcoin. I recommend you research Bitcoin. And the more you research it, the more comfortable you'll be finding the right percentage, finding the right allocation for you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think, yeah, I mean, look at in the last cycle, how many people were predicting 100K Bitcoin, right? And how wrong everyone was, at that prediction. So yeah, nobody knows how much Bitcoin is going to be, especially predicting both a price and a time frame at the same time. It's just nobody knows, right? It's how could you know? It's impossible to know.
Well, that actually is a really good transition into macro, because it was because of macro that we saw the last top be put in, and then the subsequent tail end and the crash from last cycle's top. So the ECB, you want to transition into the macro environment and some of the changes that have happened this week?
Yeah, I'll tee it up and not also just remind everyone that we are not macro experts at all. So take whatever we say with a grain of salt here. But I mean, we haven't seen it in the U.S. yet, but it's sort of it's a bit of a sign that this week the ECB, so the European Central Bank, has cut its interest rate by 0.25 percentage points, so 25 bips, which was the first rate cut since 2019. So we saw, that was really what kicked off, I think, the last really, really big major bull run was on Bitcoin, right? When the pandemic started, right? And rates went to zero and the price just totally shot up. And I mean, I don't think we're going to get to those levels quite of 0% rates, but yeah, it's a sign, that things are loosening a little bit, and that generally historically has meant number go up.
Right. Yeah, lowering rates means more liquidity into the system. What's different this time around is that typically the US is the first to make the directional change, but we haven't. We're not in a place where we can change interest rates and start lowering. So this is a little bit unusual that it's coming from somewhere else outside of the US first.
Yeah, I do see that, I guess, I didn't hear about exactly when this happened, but I guess the Bank of Canada also recently made a move like this. So
Yeah.
yeah, nothing in the U.S. yet, but we'll see what happens there. But if a lot of other countries are starting to do it, that will have impact everywhere, right? I mean, for the European Central Bank, uh, they're not quite as big as like the U.S. The Fed, but that's certainly going to have an impact elsewhere.
Yeah. Right.
Well, one kind of last big story of this week was actually an acquisition from Robinhood, and they basically announced that they were acquiring Bitstamp for $200 million. And I, as a U.S. Citizen, don't have a lot of history with Bitstamp, but they are actually the longest running crypto exchange that is still around. They first launched in 2011, and of course we have Mt. Gox was the first basically crypto exchange out there, but obviously we don't have Mt. Gox anymore. So Bitstamp is the longest running crypto exchange, and they have been acquired by Robinhood.
Nice. Yeah, that's good news. Good news for Robinhood because we know how many people are on Robinhood. So that's just more access for more people.
Yeah, I guess speaking of Robinhood, I don't know if you caught any of the live stream today from Roaring Kitty, or if you've been following any of that. From
no.
Yeah, but Roaring Kitty is back.
The roar continues.
Yeah, I wanted to. He showed up. I posted actually a meme about it on the Leather account, but he started his live stream this morning with a bunch of bandages, and his arm was like wrapped in a sling, and he was like, clearly recovering from his like 3-year absence of not being in the markets, and
Wow.
it was pretty funny. It was all fake, but he
Well,
eventually took it all off, and was just talking like his normal self. But
yeah, it's incredible to see him come back, and obviously, yeah, he understands the technical side, but he understands meme culture too. He knows how to rile the troops up, so to speak.
yeah, I mean, I tuned in at the beginning because I saw people were tweeting about it, and I kind of tuned in because I was curious, and there were over 600,000 people watching that stream.
Crazy.
Yeah. So he definitely, has the power to move markets. That's for sure. With that big of a following.
Yeah. Before we run out of time, I thought it would be good to plug D Grants and Console because they've been continuing to make some good moves.
Yeah. So, well, last Friday we did a special sort of D Grants takeover episode, and that was really awesome. To hear. They do that every Friday. They might actually be having one right now because they kind of took over our time last week. But they basically recap every Friday. They actually do they do a Twitter space almost every day or every weekday on different topics. But on Fridays specifically, it's sort of a roundup of all of the spaces that happened during the week on all the different projects and all the different sort of categories that they're focused on. And it just allows them to sort of recap everything. And what I really liked was at the end, they go around and just give kudos to everybody. And there was like a 10, 15 minute just sort of appreciation session for everybody and all the hard work that everyone does over there. So that was really cool to be a small part of that.
Yeah, it really the vibes there are so fantastic, and something that I mentioned a lot is basically something that you articulated really well a few weeks ago, which was you don't have to be a developer to be building on Bitcoin, and this community within the decentralized grants program that has evolved in the Stacks community, pardon me, is attracting this powerful group of people, pretty altruistic, very much interested in seeing Stacks and Bitcoin succeed, and they bring a win, help, win attitude. So, yeah, it's by no surprise that they have amassed this very positive group of smart, dedicated, and altruistic people. And a couple of weeks ago, so they have all kinds of contributors to the D grants program, and they have a handful of people who are stewards. And a couple weeks ago, Good Kitty invited me to co-host with her Art on Bitcoin podcast. So for anyone who hasn't checked that out, it's a great opportunity to learn more about the D grants program and to be introduced to their stewards. And like you mentioned, there's kind of like an adopted expert for various use cases within this D grants space. So that will be, that's available as a Twitter Spaces from last week, but also Leather and Trust Machines will be re-releasing that on our YouTube channel, which we don't really talk about much right now, but it's happening. It's getting built.
It is getting built. You can go to the Leather YouTube channel right now and see some really great videos actually from Longstreet. You could see his face, and he's just a really great speaker. So those are some great videos. I think we'll be cross posting those also to Twitter soon. So if you don't want to go to YouTube, you're probably going to see them anyway. But yeah, I was listening back to the D Grant show yesterday. And we did end up taking some clips for that, and we're going to be posting that over the next few days on the Trust Machines account. So if you're not following there, make sure you are following so you can see those.
Brilliant. Last thing I want to say about that is that it's been super fun making these like educational videos where we can grab these little clips and optimize them for socials. And there's this really great synergy happening with a lot of people at the Leather Trust Machines side. I mean, it's my face, but like, there's a brilliant script that's written by Annie, and then all of these great visuals that support, the concepts that we're talking about. So yeah, the quality is super good. So if you're listening and you want to be a little early, go check out the YouTube to see what the team is building.
Yeah, great plug for the YouTube, and perhaps also a great plug or good opportunity for me to mention that we are actually hiring a community manager for Leather. So I've actually had a couple folks that I've chatted with this week, but we are, continuing that process. So if you are interested in working for us and joining the team full time to help grow a community even more than we already are, please consider applying because it's an amazing opportunity. One other thing I wanted to mention on the D Grant side as well, which you actually mentioned and I never got to it, was the console element. So D Grants, the community, is on console as well. And we made sure to shout out their space last week, but they had one of their meetings, I think it was on Monday or Tuesday this week, in console. And I listened in, and it went great. There was over 30 people there, and most of them were speakers. So that's one really awesome thing about console is for larger groups, larger organizations, DAOs, whatever. You're not limited by like Twitter, for example. I think you can only have like 8 or 9 speakers at a time. On console, you can bring up as many people as you need to, and it ran very smoothly, and it went really well. So shout out to console. They're doing a lot of good things over there, and just making a really smooth and good product.
Definitely, it's still so early for them. And it's kind of an uphill battle trying to get people that are accustomed to one social platform. I mean, Discord is historically the most popular, but man, the console experience is so clean. It's, if anyone is like starting a community or you see the opportunity to transition to a different platform, like the experience on console is where it's at. It's so much better.
Yeah, and they're adding, a lot of unique features as well, like their events feature. That was basically what the D Grants team was testing, was the ability to sort of schedule out events. And then there's also sort of a ticketing kind of system that's built into that as well. If you've ever used apps like Luma or Partyful before, it's kind of similar to those experiences, but it's directly in console. And what's very cool about that is you can share a link with somebody. They can go to the console, events page, and they can join the event or RSVP to the event. And then that person then has a place that they can go to chat about the event. And it's all just built in and integrated right into console. So it's just a really slick experience to have that aspect. of community building there. And, by joining a community on console, you have a wallet address that is, connected to you. So you could do things like giving POAPs and there's just a lot of really cool things that you can do with having all of those things all connected in one place.
Right. Yeah, I really like that. Like the token gating aspect of it too, for communities that are based around like NFTs. You can have like, okay, holders of this NFT get access to a certain room, which might give them extra, whatever extra features, access to whatever AMAs or something like that. So that's a really smooth experience too.
Totally. Yeah. You can have like a holders only alpha chat or something like that. That is a little bit more exclusive.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for the week in terms of major news. Shaylee, Longstreet, am I forgetting anything?
I'm looking over the list. I think we hit everything.
Good.
Yeah, it was a comprehensive update, I think.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I think our team is going to be traveling next week, so I'm not sure if we will be here next Friday, but I believe, if I am counting correctly, the next Good for Bitcoin is going to be our 10th episode. So what a milestone. 10 episodes in already. Pretty cool that we've already been doing this for a couple months. And it's definitely something that I look forward to every Friday. It's a really great way to recap the week, recap all the great things that happened on Bitcoin. And it's just a really great time. So I appreciate everybody for joining us today. And maybe we will not see you next week, but perhaps the following week. And thanks for tuning in today.
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks, Shaylee. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.
Thank you all. Have a good weekend.
Thank you for listening. We record Good for Bitcoin live every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on X. Please follow us at Trust Machines Co. if you would like to listen and engage with us live. Visit us at trustmachines.co for all the latest Bitcoin news. We'll see you next week.